The job itself was fine, but it felt very awkward to have my best friend's parents as my boss. I thought it wouldn't be too bad after a while, but it just never got better. They hated every time something wouldn't go exactly as planned, and they also scheduled me and my friend on opposite days, so it didn't even feel like we worked together. Even though it wasn't my fault, my friend's dad hated it when I was slow because I'd be waiting for orders. At around 8:30, when it had been an hour since my last delivery and 30 minutes remained in my shift, he picked up the phone. I overheard him say that we could deliver after. He prepared the food and gave me the bag to deliver, but when I looked up the address, it wasn't there. I had no idea where this address was by the time I was 2 minutes away. It was just before 10 p.m., and there were no houses nearby from what I could see until the last minute of the drive when it had me turn down a small street. He didn't seem to care that this delivery would take nearly an hour and a half. I could tell he was just upset about me waiting around, which again was not my fault, but after a brief argument, I did as he said. 40 minutes was pretty far away for I admit that this location gave me some eerie vibes because it was so remote, and the houses themselves were simply old and unsettling. In the last 5 minutes of driving, I had slowly passed by each house and looked at their numbers until I found the right one. Then I parked on the street right next to the driveway. It was late, and I just wanted to get this over with, so I was growing irritated as I waited. I got out and carried the bag up to the door, rang the doorbell, and no one answered. When I turned to check, there were no vehicles on the street or in any of the driveways, and none of the houses' interior lights were actually on. Since they hadn't paid for the food yet, I couldn't just leave it on their doorway, so I carried the bag back to my car and called the customer's mobile phone. When they didn't answer up, I sat in my car and tried to think of what to do next. Then, I noticed a light moving about within the home. A young man in his early 20s was standing in the doorway, holding a huge torch in one hand and a grocery bag in the other. As I stepped outside and saw the light move through the downstairs windows and over to the front door before it shut off a second later. When I approached and inquired about the food, he nodded and profusely apologized for taking so long to open the door. At first, I wasn't sure if he was serious because he could have easily put the torch or grocery bag down for a moment. But then I realized he was serious. I peered around him, and from the narrow entryway, I could tell that there was something strange about this place. I tried to hand him the bag and said it was okay, but he just held up both of his hands to show me they were full. Then he asked if I would kindly put the food on the kitchen table for. Thank you for joining us for this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Goodbye.